Okay, so the idea for tonight's program was born on a chairlift, as so many great ideas in Vail have been. And I am thrilled to present it tonight. Did you bring your golf outfit? You didn't? No, you didn't. Yeah. So this is a program about how collaboration and cooperation can not only be profitable, but can lead to prosperity too. Those are different things. In our community of movers and shakers, of influencers in the pre-TikTok version of the term, I hope that this business case might inspire other such efforts to work together across sectors to do well by doing good. To introduce our panel and frame our conversation, please welcome our friend and the Director of Community Partnerships at the Vail Valley Partnership, Mr. Erik Williams.
Oh, that was it. That was it. All right. Are we hot? We ready to go? Well, hello everyone, and thank you for coming out, and it's very nice to be here, and I just get to be the person who sits here, but I am the one who is sitting in your chair. I'm just trying to ask the question. I consider myself the normal person. I know that some of you who know me are like, yeah, sure. But I'm going to try to ask the normal questions that some of us would, and steer these incredible people, because this is a unique story that I'm really honored to be a part of. Although, I wanted to say thanks to the symposium staff as well, too, and we were saying, like, someone was just asking James, when do you go home? When do you see your family? They're right here. Just okay. And the Bonta's families are right here too. This is such a cool tradition, and what a cool thing for you guys to come see. Did you come because there's a really cool artist here? I'm going to keep talking and talking and talking. He's going to get hotter and hotter and keep sweating and sweating under these lights right there. So no, I'm just steering the bus. I'm going to let these guys talk, but it's an honor to be here, and I do get to work with community partnerships and with Seth from time to time. So getting to know these gentlemen in this little pre-interview time has been a treat. So let's start with some self-introductions. That's our next, because it's more fun to tell a little bit about yourself. Getting to know Mike from Zeal Optics, so tell the people who you are.
Awesome. Thanks, Erik, and thank you all for being here and supporting the work that the Vail Symposium does. It's awesome to see the support for arts, culture, and entrepreneurship here in the Valley. Love this place. I think you're going to hear a lot about the sense of place that we all share, the time that we've spent in the Vail Valley. I grew up in Colorado, have had a pass to Vail since 1988, kind of dating myself there. It's changed a little bit, and a lot of it for the better, a lot of it, well, anyway, that's a different symposium.
Yeah.
But
hey, tell us how you really feel. No, all right.
But I've been working in the snowboard industry for most of my career. Worked at Transworld Business, covering the business side of action sports for about 7 years, and then joined Zeal Optics about 10 years ago. Primarily they were bought by Maui Jim Sunglasses, and we were asked to do an overhaul focusing on sustainability and equity in outdoor sports, and those have always been things that I'm really passionate about. As a lifelong snowboarder, we need snow, and we'll get more into that as well. But then also just bringing more people into this space, and I think that's why we're all here.
Yep.
So
that's part of the secret sauce that we're talking about.
Indeed. Yeah. So been at Zeal for about 10 years. Been working with SOS for much longer than that, but been working with Pat for longer than that as well. But we'll get more into that, and I'm going to let you upstage me now with your introduction.
Check.
Mike. Hello. Mic check.
There you go.
Okay. He's an incredible snowboarder, incredible human, and I think I got one of my first or second covers of a magazine.
Yeah.
On a giant sculpture that is known as Transcontinental. I think it's like Transcontinental Business, and it's down on Broadway. Has anyone ever seen the shipping container sculpture right on Broadway and Walnut there, or Broadway and Blake? And anyway, that was Mike was the editor of Transworld Business at that time. So thank you again.
Here we are, 15 years later.
You never know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Here I am. I present myself. I'm a snowboarder. I fell in love with. Yes. We are a very particular breed because we have had to fight for our rights to be on those slopes, and that has allowed us to earn a lot of not only respect but also like prove it through hard work, determination, not taking things personally, as well as becoming just an individual that prides themselves on the purity and also the beauty of counterculture and kind of looking at things differently. So, I was 11, Santa gave me a snowboard, and it was a black snow. It did, I don't think it had, yes, it did have metal edges, and I immediately kind of bounced away from family and said peace out, and I went to the backyard and just started trying to figure this thing out with my Sorel boots and my snowboard. Ever since then, I would say I've been very lucky to have a beautiful addiction as a snowboarder, living the lifestyle that is one of the most beautiful lifestyles that we could ever choose to live. Obviously respecting nature, learning so much from travels, but also paying a lot of dues and figuring stuff out that is not easy to figure out. There's no manual to be a snowboarder. We can't, now kids can go to school to be snowboarders, but when we were growing up to be snowboarders, you could not go to school. There were hardly any training facilities, and we just had to figure this out DIY style in our backyards and with our friends. So my first identity, I always identified myself, I love sports, I've always made art, but I identified myself as a snowboarder. So this is where Open Hearts begins. This all
Damn.
You didn't know we were getting this kind of a show, did you?
There it is. Pat said, I'm going to do a little bit of a different introduction. All right? You go, buddy. This crowd's down for it. Yeah. There we go. Oh, yeah. There we go.
Of course.
Yeah.
The artist and snowboarder would do that. We drop things a lot, hence paint. So then I decided that after many, many years of being a snowboarder, and I'll always be a snowboarder, I decided to remove the name tag and let the ego go. It was really hard, but it also was an open heart message to myself and also to anyone out there that if you have a career that you take a lot of pride in, you've worked really hard at, you can let all that go and you can become a better version of yourself. I started creating, that's how I met Mike, through snowboarding, but also through creating on goggle straps as well as other canvases. And I had a calling to put a lot of positivity, loving energy, and make art more accessible for anyone. So the public became my canvas. I probably walked around like this a lot because a lot of the art I originally did, I didn't want anyone to know who I was. So I didn't ask a lot of permission, but I made a lot of beautiful things that somehow allow me to have that as my full-time career and can support myself professionally by using my imagination, but also working really hard. I took a lot of the fundamentals from snowboarding and being a snowboarder and running my own career for 15 years as a professional snowboarder, and I implemented a lot of those fundamentals and a lot of the business models that I learned and a lot of the discipline that I had taught myself through snowboarding as a professional snowboarder into my art career. Difference here is that art is everywhere. Art is in everything. Art is in cities, art is in museums, art is in places, people's homes. Art is on snowboards, it's on skis, it's on products, it's on all these products all over that table over there, including an MLS jersey I got to design as the first ever artist that got to create something for Major League Soccer with Adidas and to bring a whole new mental health initiative into professional sports realm. So here I am as an artist, very vulnerable, opening my heart every single day. But the commonality that bridges both of them is business. So, thank you. We take the paint off, and we get to party. And,
Oh, I didn't see those before.
Look at his shoes.
Yeah.
Where did those come from? You had a snowboard bag.
heaven.
Yeah.
So, you can mix and match anything you want to do in life. right? You don't have to be in a category. You don't need to identify yourself as just a lawyer. You don't have to just be an entrepreneur doing one thing. The way we live now in these days, in this time, is that we need to keep ourselves as open to any form of possibility as we can, as long as it aligns with our vision, with our purpose, and feels right in our heart. So for me, as a person and as a creative and as a snowboarder and as an artist, I work on commercial real estate ventures. I work on designing products. I work with great organizations like SOS. But I also listen really closely to what my heart's telling me to do and keep an open heart and do my best to keep business, art, and my life all balanced as best I can, which I don't think I'll ever have a balance. I don't think we ever need to have a balance, but I think as long as it feels right and feels balanced inside of your gut and your intuition and your heart, then you have your balance. So that's me. Nice to meet y'all.
Nice work.
All right, it said 90 seconds for introduction right there. So no, I'm just kidding. That was awesome. And tell us who you are, you beloved local.
Hi, everybody. Seth Ehrlich, Executive Director of SOS Outreach, and I am here today because my friend Dave and I didn't want to pay to go up on the mountain in high school, and so we started a ski club, and it started with one bus, ski and snowboard club. It was whoever got on the bus. We didn't care. We started with one bus in freshman year, and we ended up with 4, and we just scholarshiped whoever. Like, it was a Peter Pan type experience. Whoever wanted to get on went, and whoever could pay paid, and we figured that out at the end, and Dave and I got to ski for free. And as you heard with the introduction here, the biggest thing that I get to do in my life is I get to do awesome things with awesome people. And Mike and Pat and Erik have been a part of that journey in such a powerful way. At SOS, just last week, we celebrated our 30th birthday on the mountain right behind us. We were founded. And to connect into that history, Ray is back here as one of our co-founders who really was here in running the ride school 30 years ago on the mountain, who said there's a positive impact that snowboarding can have. And it's been in that vision that SOS has now grown into a whole movement. Started in snowboarding, now skiing and riding. 15 communities, 24 mountain resorts, 32 kids annually, working with kids from 4th through 12th grade, all started out of the Gold Peak Ride School and has now expanded from Detroit to Seattle and all points in between. We have 50 team members, 500 volunteers. I mean, the numbers are ridiculous. The amount of alumni working for us is unreal. But again, it all comes back to the power of skiing and riding to create change. The power of being on the mountain and sharing an activity between adults and kids eliminates such a barrier. We have 75-year-old mentors who are able to talk to 5th graders and 6th graders on their first day because they share a passion together. If any of you have adolescents, mine just transitioned into that stage, it's very difficult to foster a conversation. But when you share a passion with someone, it's amazing the doors that open and what then opens your heart to that because you are a trusted adult that happens through it. We then integrate in service learning, leadership development. This really is more like a school than it is an after-school program, so every year builds on the previous, but it all started out of this vision on this mountain behind us of this sport's really awesome. How do we share it with as many people as possible? And I've been able to work against that with some really awesome people throughout my career.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's Seth Ehrlich. I'm sorry to chuckle right there because I was a little bit late to this because I was fostering a conversation with an adolescent right there who is an SOS graduate, and thank God, for all that. I like all of the things that you guys said. I really want to go back to calling. We're going to talk about that. But first, we'd like to share a video asset so you guys can understand just a little bit more. Here's a 2-minute video that shares a little bit about what Pat and what we've all been talking about.
So as a snowboarder and a creative, I've had the honor and privilege of working with Zeal over the last decade.
It's really fun to be here with you, Mike, to talk about the Open Hearts collection. Pat Milbery art.
What's super special about this project is that we basically take all the colors of these cans of paint that I put on walls every day and merged them into an actual sunglass. The thought with the designing, it's like opening your heart. You have no idea there's art here, and then you open this up and the art appears, and it's on the inside. We're partnering with SOS Outreach as an incredibly powerful organization that creates so much change and mentorship and outdoor experience.
With every sale of these, we're giving $5 to their mission.
We at SOS believe that everyone belongs on the mountains, and since we were founded in 1993, we have engaged kids who have traditionally not been included within this space so that they belong.
These sunglasses are this like energy transformation and this decision for you to contribute and have your heart to be more open.
The Open Hearts Collection really does open your heart, open your mind, and lead to unlimited possibilities.
It's that mantra of exploring more with an open heart.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. Thank you for sharing that with us. Seth, let's come back to you. I want to hit for 30 years ago, let's just talk anniversary for just 1 second. 30 years ago, how many students were interacted by SOS?
0.
And 0. How many
There were 4 adults who met at the other side in Beaver Creek, and they started this idea.
29 years ago.
But we were, it was less than 40. In the good old days where, we literally drove down to a Denver housing development and picked up kids for a 1-day snowboard experience. Ray made it happen. These kids got a 1-day introduction. Started with 15 and went to 40 in year 2.
And then 30 years. How many this year? I missed the number.
We've had 75,000 kids before this season through the program. We'll have 3,300 this season alone.
That's pretty awesome.
But really have scaled this as a whole community of impact.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Well, I know you're impacting communities, SOSs all across the nation, but we're talking about us right now. And I want to talk about some of the things that you have done right here with this. So talk about how SOS becomes involved and why this local partnership works. Because we do say, and put the emphasis on that local partnership piece, because it really is impacting students. My kid's an SOS kid. All 3 of my kids have been SOS kids over the years, which they absolutely love. Yeah. So talk to me about that local piece.
Well, what's really awesome about SOS Outreach is that we partner with organizations to do what they do better than anyone else. Vail Resorts turns lifts as good or better than anyone else. Zeal makes amazing product. All of our partners, I can list them off. We're like the Hard Rock Cafe of the ski and snowboard industry because we have a lot of partners who are engaged in our mission. What we're able to partner with them on is what they do better than anyone to have a direct impact on kids. And so they can give us product, jackets, pants, goggles, gloves, hats, lift tickets, rental equipment, instruction. All of that stuff that they have that they make better than anyone, we put it directly on kids so that they graduate high school and go on to what's next in their lives. And it's because of the power of the sport. With other nonprofit partnerships, and this is what gets missed often, is there's an inefficiency that happens because you can give us a jacket, you can give a lift ticket, and then it's sold on our rental or on a raffle table or as a silent auction item. That's the traditional corporate partnership model. We have a direct corporate partnership model that is impacting our mission. So our total budget, $7.5 million, $5 million of that is in-kind goods and services that are direct budget relieving that make it possible for us to expand our impact across 10 states and 15 communities and 24 mountain resorts. Here in the local community, where that then comes in, there's 500 kids here in Eagle County who are engaged from 4th grade through high school graduation, and that's managed by a staff of 2.5. There isn't a mentoring program that's that efficient. And it is because of these partnerships that we do it. It's because of the amount of instructors, the amount of teachers, the amount of volunteers, the amount of inventors who are engaged in our program that really make it possible for us to have scaled this impact across the nation as we have, but that's what really does it for us. I mean, it's a whole community of support around a shared passion, and then the ability for people to give what they do better than anyone else. And that's from organizations, again, Zeal goggles that go on kids so they can see, to a person. Like Pat's coming out on program days because he is so passionate about being on the mountain and sharing that.
Yeah. Did that take 30 years to build, that community partnership, or was there a time where it started to spool and go, and now where are you going to go from here?
What was
That's a lot of questions.
What was the big unlock or accelerator in it was when the impact started happening. So when we were early adopting and evaluations, and so measuring the impact of our programs, and when we could state clearly, no, we're not teaching kids how to ski and ride.
Yeah.
We are supporting them to be better humans so that they can be successful. That's when it became exponential, because then partnerships started to grow, mountain resorts started to grow in that partnership.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And along those lines, I think it's so important. You learn when you're having fun, and you learn when you have people around you that are really pushing you and that are encouraging you through like positivity and stoke and, you know, a lot of that type of energy. Which
it's the best class. I mean, like, that's the whole thing. Like, again, everybody goes, you know, you just take kids skiing and snowboarding. No, we don't. This is the absolute best classroom. If you've ever been on a chairlift, like, that's when conversations happen. I mean, I've had kids, I'll never forget this. It was, I don't know, 5 years ago, and I rode up a lift with one of our kids, sophomore in high school. I asked him what he was doing after high school. He said he'd never been asked that question. And you just realize like what that means as you're thinking about your future. We've had kids out of Chicago who go up to Wilmot. One of them said he'd never seen stars before. Like, wrap that around as to what that does to change your perspective and change your horizons. And so it is like the outdoors are the best place to be real, to break down your barriers, and to really connect with those around you.
And, you know, like along those lines, my first, I guess you could say, official project with SOS is I invited 55 kids down to about 50 feet outside of City Hall, downtown Denver, in Civic Center Park, and I was painting the street. So I spent 39 days, about 450 hours, and 320 gallons of paint. Thank you, Sebastian, wherever you are, for your help. You're here somewhere. And I invited SOS to come and paint with me. And so all these kids show up outside of City Hall, and they kind of look around, and there's a bunch of color and beautiful, bright designs going on, and painting being created all over the street. And we had, over the 2-course day, which you can see here, from some really cool drone shots, these kids show up, and they're like, what is going on? And I was like, all right, so this is what we're doing. Here's a roller, here's a brush. Like, this is what you're gonna do. What color do you wanna paint? And that was not necessarily on the chairlift, but what that was like opening their imaginations up to like anything is possible. I never would have thought that the city of Denver would have commissioned me to paint in front of City Hall, but I never wanted to hold myself back from what could happen and where my art could lead me and where the expansion of my imagination could be, and also how I could work with others. And so with that project, that was a community engaged project, because City Hall, but more or less Civic Center Park, is a park that people protest. It's a park that people host rallies, celebrations of life, a lot of concerts, along with a lot of social and civic different engagements. And so to me, it only made sense to include the people and to let people come and paint, and let kids, especially younger generations of people, come and experience that, like, your art or your creativity, your imagination can go anywhere. And this is, you know, a living proof. But over those 2 days with 55 kids and the organizers and the managers from your program, it was a really special experience, because the kids went in not knowing anything about where the paint goes, how to kind of maybe stay in a line, that a mistake was temporary, that if they made a mistake, it's cool. Like, it's all right, it's just paint. It's all good. If you get on your clothes, it might look a little cooler, just let it be, you know? And they were they're glowing with enthusiasm, and they got really engaged in that process. And some of them were only asked to be there, and they were only signed up for like a couple hours. And these kids wanted to stay the whole day, and they were having a blast painting and getting to know each other and actually really stepping up to help each other. And it was really cool to see that element of how when you're offered a platform, when you're offered a space, and you're also given, you provide them like a positive, like, you know, open perspective for them to just be themselves, like they really want to collaborate, they really want to work together, and they also start becoming a better version of themselves, which is a really fun thing to witness.
And
it's
that's at
your
the core of
mentorship there too, yeah.
That's at the core of SOS. You know, that's why we wanted to work with you guys, because it's not just that one and done type experience, but it's creating well-rounded human beings that are going to find a path to pay that forward as well. So, yeah.
And what I think one of the coolest things in regards to like Zeal's involvement here as like an outdoors brand and SOS's core, it started as snowboarding. I could sit and paint and talk about snowboarding with these kids, which was so fun, right? Like when you get to engage in something that we're not like normally like, oh, you're going on a snowboard adventure, right? But this was like a service project that was allowing us to be creative together, but we could sit and be like, so like goofy or regular? Like, what's your favorite grab? Oh, you don't know what they're called? Okay, cool. Like, here, I'm gonna stand here, and I'm gonna do some grabs here. So if you grab in between your hands, backhand, indie. Reach back, tail. Lift your front leg, nose. So it was like really fun. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I like that other one where, you grab on the back edge of your board and then you kick out your back foot. Like, oh, a method. And it was like, just like it was like an outdoor classroom that just organically flowed, and that just kind of feels like what life's supposed to do, right? With not putting too many like restrictions or putting too many borders or whatever else. And I don't know, hopefully that'll stoke them out a little bit more to go enjoy the slopes after that project.
You mix language, culture, art, athleticism, outside, like everything with those kids. That's so cool. When James came up here at the very beginning, he said that there's profitability in this as well. And it's not just the human content, but there's actually capital as well. So someone who works for a for-profit company, how does all this spool into actually making sense for a business?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, the concept of doing well by doing good is so powerful, especially in business these days. Yeah. Customers are getting more and more savvy. I think it really ramped up throughout the pandemic as people wanted to learn more about the brands that they're voting with their dollars for. What are they really standing behind? What claims are they making, and how are they backing those up? Yeah. And we've seen that a lot with picking away at potential greenwashing around products that claim to be sustainable. And I think that's even transitioning now with corporate social responsibility, and people are looking to see if a business gets behind issues, how are they really doing that? How are they engaged? Are they just writing a check? Is it an organization that they started to check a box more than anything, or that they have a cursory relationship with? With forming partnerships like this, people see the authenticity of the brand that is doing this. It's a good opportunity for us to promote causes that are going to create future customers for us, and it's a great way to get word of mouth spreading. It's public relations, it's a bit of guerrilla marketing, but it's storytelling, it's partnerships, it's opening doors, and opening hearts and minds.
Interesting. So many more people were introduced. That's what Seth was saying briefly before we were talking. He's like, yeah, all of my families are now introduced to Zeal Optics because of this works, and obviously that translates to business.
And through that,
please.
Where Mike was going, and I think is really important to add, is that there's transparency, right? Like we as humans like to be communicated to direct. We like to know that we're being told the truth. We like to have healthy communication. We like to have people that we want to communicate with. And so with this partnership, it's super important, bless you. It's super important because we have transparency exactly where this money's going, right? With the beneficiary being SOS and knowing that it's $5 a pair of sunglasses every time they're sold, like we know they're going directly what type of programming, what type of services, and there's no questioning like who you're raising money for, right? And for me as a creator and artist, I get asked a lot. I get approached about working for causes, working for different charities, and donations of canvases and my time and energy in my work. But I really try to weed out those that I don't find that are, one, related to the cause, but also like transparent, and know that like you can feel the energy of the impact. And it's interesting, like from a currency perspective, like we value metrics, right? And I think, yes, that is the most measurable form of how growth or currency is accumulated, shared, spent, and also gained or lost. But ultimately, I think this currency is far more like ingrained in the human spirit, because it's an energy. Like this currency is like energy of what we're doing, and it's hard to put a return on investment on energy, but it's a feeling. And it's this, to me, and I think for all of us, the more we talk and the more Open Hearts has been growing across the industry platform with other brands, the brands are trying to figure out how they put more resources into that type of currency.
And additionally, relevancy. You know, what SOS does is it embodies everything that we are as a brand and what we espouse and who we are as individuals at the end of the day as well. You know, snowboarding's always been my North Star and has created so many opportunities in my life, and just kind of been the guide. And to pay that forward in a way that also gives back to our business and helps it grow, I mean, that's very powerful.
Yeah.
And that was a big takeaway when I worked with the kids down on the street, Like, I asked them how they were doing and obviously how they felt, like what the painting was, did they feel comfortable? If they didn't, I tried to help, show them a little bit more or make sure that they felt a little bit more comfortable. But ultimately, I think the takeaway for me was that first, really engaged service project with SOS, because 55 humans is a lot of people, and there's a lot of wet paint when you're walking on surfaces. So a lot of mistakes can happen, and a stress level could easily rise at a very quick rate. As parents out there, I'm sure you are very aware of the task, but also the responsibility to monitor your patients with the adolescents and youth, and also when your kids are growing. Dad, thank you for your patience. Very, very much.
Yeah, you don't get that very often. Awesome.
Thank you. Martha, thank you for your patience. And one of the biggest takeaways was asking them how they felt after this. And asking them, hey, did this feel like snowboarding? Because I hope it did, because it's an engaged, it's fun, you're expressing yourself, you're out there with your friends, you're doing something a little untraditional, unconventional. Because I remember when Mike and I were down in Argentina a couple months ago for a Zeal week, that we had the honor of doing some testing of the goggles we're developing, and also stoking out a lot of people that were down there for this international session that we were part of. There was a bus of kids that arrived at the hotel when we checked out, and that were all coming in. And it was the first time these kids had ever seen snow. And they got off the bus and they were eating it, and they were doing everything you could imagine with snow. But it kind of put this whole world in perspective. Wow, we get to play in the snow 60 sometimes a year and ride chairlifts, and yet we complain about if the powder's not deep enough, or we complain about if it's not a bluebird day. And it really put a lot of stuff in perspective about how grateful, and also with the kids we're working at SOS, a lot of these kids don't come from much. And a lot of these kids don't have parents that don't believe in them. And a lot of these kids don't have any positivity in their life. So it's so important to be that source and to take that pride, and also to give them that courage that they can step into any situation in life and just be themselves. And they don't have to worry about being judged. So I think that was really special, that I hoped, that carried on. And also was yo, this is your canvas. You can tell any of your friends, you can go home and tell your cousins, your parents, your dog, whoever. You just painted a piece in front of City Hall in downtown Denver,
And you were allowed to.
Yeah. And you were allowed to.
You didn't get arrested.
Yeah.
You didn't have to run afterwards. Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
They're big gifts,
Yeah, they are.
Changing perspectives.
Thank you. Thank you for that perspective, too. Seth, is this a unicorn that we have right here? I mean, we have a fantastic nonprofit that's well respected. We have a really cool artist that brings an energy that's totally different. And then we have a for-profit company. Or do these partnerships exist elsewhere in this valley? Or is this something we're starting to see elsewhere growing across the nation? You were saying post-COVID a little bit. Are we seeing this?
we're seeing some of this. This is the first that I've worked on in this level, because it really is what the historical of a community give when it comes into a product that's created is the logo slap. You know, putting a nonprofit's logo on something and then hoping that their community sells. What was very unique about this product was that it was a design that's amazing, that responds to the consumer interest, product that's amazing, they make some of the best product out there, and a cause. And it was a fully integrated approach that really has come, and it wasn't just a one-time. I mean, part of the largest benefit for SOS is not only the contribution, but also the awareness that's here, because this is a fully integrated story within Zeal's outreach strategy. And so it really has increased the awareness for our mission and our impact through this. So for us, this really is the first ever that we've done it. I mean, we've had product that's gone to retail. Unfortunately, as we've learned, I mean, there's only so far that our logo is going to sell on its own.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it really is. It's a really internal network that you're selling to.
And it's really taken on a life of its own
Yeah.
since we started this. You know, Pat and I were brainstorming in February in Boulder. If you saw that mural, that's right behind the Zeal offices in Boulder, and he was painting that. We reconnected and we're like, dude, what can we do to kind of rekindle these partnerships that we've done over the years? And, you know, got to talking about what SOS is doing, how we're bringing the next generation up and into snowboarding and, you know, experiencing the outdoors, and so that they want to protect it as well. The benefits of that from a mental health standpoint and, you know, from just healthy living in general. And so the sunglasses came out, I think, in May of this year.
And Mike asked me to do a goggle, and I refused.
Yes, it was a hard sell.
Because they've never done a signature piece of eyewear. And I was like, well, the goggle, it'd be cool. It'd be an honor to do a goggle, but to me, like, I want something every day.
Yeah.
And I want something as like an actual practice that I put on, and like that is the actual practice. But also I thought we could reach a lot more people, because sunglasses you can wear every day. Only certain people wear goggles. And I give Mike a lot of credit, because within a week and a half,
We had samples going. But yeah,
he made it happen.
We had
and
never
there was
done
a lot of walls
sunglass
there
with an
Yeah.
artist before. We had done some goggles before, but this was uncharted territory for us. And the first round sold out in a few months. We launched them with a select group of our sales reps in the US. And shortly thereafter, when we made the next batch, launched them in Australia, Canada, and Europe, and coming up on our fourth batch that's coming out now. So telling the SOS story globally, which is very cool, you know, and hopefully it's an opportunity for you guys to expand more down the road. And as Pat mentioned, the new goggle line will be coming out next September. I'm really excited with that. But we've also been talking with a bunch of other partners that have come on board and, you know, have a timeline now into the 25-26 season. I don't know if you want to talk a bit more about, you know, who else has come on board.
For sure. I would love to. I think, like, before I dive in on that, the one thing that, like, kind of that's interwoven into this sequence, kind of this like, the importance, like, all right, so, like, we have a couple legends in the house, like, we have DCP. If everyone could give it up for David, he's like one of the all-time greatest snowboarders that's ever. Yes, DCP is in the house, and I've looked up to David for many years as a snowboarder, and also as a human, and an incredible father, and a great husband to his wonderful wife, who is a native Colorado resident and works for Boarding for Breast Cancer, which is another great organization that I've had the privilege of doing a lot of work for. Losing my mother to breast cancer was really not easy, and so I've worked with David's wife a lot on different Boarding for Breast Cancer initiatives as well. But where I wanted to go there real quick before I dive into the partners was that, like, growing up, like, and I think still right now, it hasn't changed much. It's like everything is based on your image. Like, people perceive you based on, like, your image. So you're kind of trying, like, whether you want to admit it or you're not, you're trying to, like, uphold this, like, image to people. As a snowboarder, like, you had to be cool. Like, if you weren't cool, if you were, like, kind of a kid that, like, didn't do all the traditional things, didn't have, like, the hugest bag of tricks, but, like, kind of was, like, on the edge, like, you weren't necessarily respected by the core industry. And it was hard because you get a lot of judgment. And it's just like school. It's like bullying. It's like all these things, even in any industry. It's like, it's very hard to be vulnerable when you look at things a little bit differently. And I've always looked at things through more of a creative lens. And gratefully, my mom taught me that as a kid. Like, she always taught my sister and I about how important it was to be ourselves, and how if you were feeling something that made you happy, that you need to go with that feeling, and you need to believe in yourself. And believing in yourself is like a huge battle for us all the time. We can dip dive into valleys, we can kind of like run ourselves or kind of like pull ourselves out of these valleys, but sometimes like it's a really, really dark place that we fall into. And with snowboarding, that was always like snowboarding and art and creativity. Those have always been my outlets that I can feel like I can just fully be myself. And like getting involved with an organization like SOS like might not be the coolest thing to do, right? It's not like the craziest, coolest thing that's like being advertised. But when you start realizing like what really matters in life, and when you start valuing things that you not only appreciate for what it's doing for other people, the community it's building, but also like what it means to other people in their life, rather than just how cool you look or how your small little circle of peers like makes you feel your ego inflate, you start realizing, wow, this organization has a lot deeper feeling than I ever could have imagined. And with the Open Hearts Collection, it's just like I've worked a lot in these last few years on just believing in myself again. And I've had a lot of like, even in the art world's raw. I mean, it is cutthroat. Graffiti writers are ruthless. People are extremely judgmental, just like anywhere else. You might think, oh, the art world. Nah, it's a very dog-eat-dog world. And you might find, and you do find, a lot of peace, but I've always found my peace working with kids. I've always found my peace working with like people that look at like positive influences, but also put themselves out there that go like a different direction. And I remember working on this project downtown Denver. It was called Find Your Words. Kaiser Permanente and a curator from Los Angeles, California, Warren Brand, through Branded Arts, reached out to me. And he asked me, hey, we never worked on a project before, but like, I really admire your perspective and your energy you bring to the walls, and what you've done for the city and your state. And I really would like you to work on this project. And Kaiser Permanente was trying to take a whole different, kind of a different approach of what you say to someone who's going through some really hard times, particularly depression. And it was called #Find Your Words. And he said, so I don't know if you're comfortable with this, but we have a wall downtown Denver, and we would like you to paint something really powerful and also involve people, if you felt comfortable allowing other people to feel a part of what you were doing. And I had to one, look at it as like, wow, this is powerful, but also, if I do this, I'm going to be judged immediately by the art world, because this wasn't typically what people put on walls. Like, they put their tag on walls that looked super cool and cryptic, like a graffiti font that was like, that had like tradition, that stated them, who they were and the territory. And I was going to a wall and putting messages about people to hopefully reach people that could really use something in their life and can maybe just use a little encouragement. And I remember going to sleep that night and thinking to myself, all right, Mom, I need your help here. And asking kind of like for a greater voice and also for permission to do that. And I woke up and I had the decision that I was going to do it. And I called Warren and I said, I'm in, let's do this. I'm so excited to participate. And it's kind of like being involved with your organization, right? It's like, once you commit to something, like, you make yourself available for what what this could entail, but also you make yourself very vulnerable. And that project really kind of changed me because mental health dates back to me when I was 12. My cousin Erik, such a beautiful kid, such a beautiful soul. We were pretty close. He was 13, he was a year older than me. He got me into a lot of like music and other things that I really was digging, but he took something a little too far in his life and took his life. And I was sitting on the couch with my sister, and my dad was at work. My mom was like in the kitchen, and I remember my mom getting this phone call, and the house went silent. She started screaming, and my sister and I didn't know what to do. And we gave each other a hug. We walked up and gave my mom a hug and held her because she was trembling. And we found out that my cousin Erik took his life and also took his mother's life and as well as his two little brothers. And basically my Uncle Dean came home from work, heard a gunshot, got in his car, went to the neighbor's house, got back into that house with the police and found his whole family dead. And that was the biggest mental health lesson I've ever learned in my life about how important it is to really practice something that allows you to communicate with others and be open to others and not hold stuff in. And it took a lot of therapy. It took a lot of practice. I got bullied a lot at school because of the association I had with my cousin and the stuff that kids saw on the news. And I think it made me a lot both stronger a person, but also made me so much more aware of how important it is to like look out for your friends and look out for the people around you, and just to be a little bit more conscious of what was going on, and to maybe give a little bit of a bigger fuck.
Thank you.
And pardon my French, but that was some heavy stuff. And to me, when I painted that project, so I'm going to bring it back. When I painted that project, I dedicated that to my little cousin. I dedicated that to my family, but I also finally was able to work through something that happened to me close to 25 years prior to that. I thought I'd worked through it, but until that moment, I painted that piece of art, and I was approached by the marketing director for Kaiser Permanente of Colorado, who pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I got to tell you a quick story. My daughter has been really suffering from depression, and her friend last night texted her and said, 'Hey, I love you, and you are enough,' one of the phrases I had painted on that wall. Sent her a photo of that wall. Had no idea her mom was involved with that project. So the woman's daughter and her are having breakfast, and she goes, "Mom, my friend Anna just sent me this photo, and how cool is this? Like this painting," and it was like this encouragement to make me realize that I am enough. And right there, that woman knew what she was doing was interconnected and had a bigger purpose. And so what we're doing here is definitely shifting the narrative in snowboarding and in this industry. I mean, normally, like, what sells is the coolest stuff you see. But this has the coolest feeling you're going to receive. And so as a visual artist, to me, it's my responsibility to make it the coolest thing you're going to see.
Yes.
And so that's where I want to put the twist and make sure my art and the art that I've seen a lot of humans respond to in a positive way goes onto these products, and then they sell. And then that way we can generate as much in not only awareness, but also we can generate as much for SOS. And so that's kind of been snowballing. I remember when Mike and I sat down, I had a little bit of a bigger vision, and I'm a big manifester. And I realized that with manifestation, you have to allow things they have to let things take time. You can't force it. You need to feel it. And I felt that it was time to approach a few new brands, and also just the synergy, and also ask Seth, like, hey, who are some of your key partners, and how can we work together? And one of them is Smartwool, a great company. I believe started out Steamboat, right? Was it Steamboat originally?
Yep.
They're part of the VF Corporation, who moved their corporate headquarters from the Bay Area to downtown Denver. Under that roof, it's Vans, Supreme, which is a huge streetwear brand that VF acquired for about $3 billion in the last few years. And a plethora, like JM Sports under them, under that umbrella, whatever else. So it's a huge, huge, huge new umbrella of brands that now are office downtown Denver. And Smartwool is a big partner of SOS, but I have a mission of making base layers look a little bit like cooler. And so you actually like want to wear them more as like a fashion statement, but also as like something you want to like just walk around in rather than cover up. So we're working on base layers for women. We're working on base layers for kids and men. And then we're also doing some socks and some graphic tees. And we have 6 other brands that we're currently building and working with. We have an insole brand that one of my friends I grew up snowboarding with in our backyards building jumps. His name is John Makins. He's got a brand called Remind Insoles that he started, and it's been doing really great for orthotics and kind of catering with art all over insoles. Mine are somewhere around here, but they are really unique art-driven insoles, especially for skateboarders, snowboarders, but for anyone. So we have a collaboration coming out that's going to benefit SOS through Remind. We're working with Yo Colorado. That hat I was wearing that I threw off as part of my artist kit is part of the collection. We have really cool functional overalls coming out. We have button-up shirts, really nice dress shirts, kind of retro surf pocket tees. We have hats and a couple other beanies as well that we're working on. We are working with a great company, if anyone has dogs in the room. It's called...
Everyone has dogs in their room. It's Vail.
As a mental health practice, dogs are probably one of the best. So it's a really cool company that started out after, I don't know, kind of cut my teeth a little bit. My buddy Rick built a really cool product called Skull Candy Headphones. And he is in the room, so thank you, Rick, for all your support over the years, because it means the world to me as an individual. And some of the original team at Skull Candy started a brand called Wolfgang, and they're making dog accessories. So we're going to be doing dog collars and leashes, and doing some art and some really fun stuff on those as well. Who am I missing? Function face masks.
Like,
yeah, we're going to be doing some face masks. And we're doing really great, kind of all weather, all performance face masks and headbands and stuff. And then we're kind of like, we're not sure where the boards are going to go yet. We're talking to Icelantic about skis, but we're open. We're still kind of figuring out where the snowboard collaboration will be. And then whatever else comes about. But we're just kind of organically, we're not trying to stack the deck too much. We're just kind of organically allowing things to kind of filter in
and getting your brand and your vision, your unique, your colorful, your beautiful vision in so many places. I love the base layer idea. Can I share? We were on a phone call. I'm taking privilege for a second. We were on a phone call like a month ago, and I got to meet these guys and chat with them. And he was talking about the opening of the sunglasses. And if you saw that, he said, open your sunglasses, but as you do it, think about opening your heart, because we all do this how many times a day when we're opening our sunglasses? I'd say 5 or 6, right, when we're running around. And so I told him this earlier in the day, but that's one of the things I've been trying to think about. So when I open my sunglasses, and I don't have cool art on the inside, but I'm still trying to use it as like a meditation practice. Well, all right, I'm putting on my sunglasses, I'm going to open my heart to whatever possibilities. And it's changed my perspective just for that little moment, those little daily reminders. So that's a cool thing. So I wanted to say thanks for that. I want to pause you for just a second because there's probably people that have a couple of questions, and then we actually have a ton of really nice giveaways, and there's not that many people, thankfully, so we all can get some good stuff. So any questions out there, if you guys are okay taking some questions.
Please.
And then I'd love maybe like a wrap statement, and Seth, and how we move forward from this. You're always so good at that and so eloquent, or you're I'm searching
pressure.
right now. Who out there has something burning that they'd like to ask these folks? And Pat, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
For opening yourself to all of us in this moment. It's hard, but it's really cool. It means a lot.
You're welcome. And I think the last thing I really wanted to say about this practice that you just described is like some people just don't get into meditation, and that's fine. And some people don't take the time to meditate, or just don't really feel that that's what they want to do. So this is something that is very simple and easy, and it's a very practical practice.
Take a breath, yeah. It's been working for me. I'm such a nice guy. And that's my wife. She likes me so much more ever since that call. Oh, gosh, that sunglasses trick has saved you. Folks out there,
got more.
The handsome Mr. Kenley would love to run to you with his microphone.
I will come to you with the microphone.
I don't even know what time it is. I'm so enthralled with
You're
this.
doing a great job. I will ask that you speak into the microphone, not near the microphone, for obvious reasons. They work when you speak right into them, so that part's important. I'll ask that you stand if you're able, and we'll alternate. We'll take questions here in the room. And for folks online, type your questions into the Q&A feature, and Megan will bring those into the room. We'll intersperse them. So who's going to start us? You have one?
Hey there. Great topic tonight. Thanks so much. I have a question for you. My name's Claire, and I'm in the outdoor industry. And I'm curious to know how long Zeal has been doing purpose-driven work, and if the ideation comes from the creatives and the nonprofits, how do you sell into your leadership, or was that already there? Because it's front-heavy labor-wise and art-wise, but the profits come later.
Right. So we have been focused primarily on sustainability in our CSR, and that's at the core of the organization. When we built it, there was 3 pillars: use less, give back, and explore more. And we're fortunate that there's about a team of 10 of us there. So there's not a lot of red tape. Selling it is, us saying, cool, that sounds like a good idea, and kind of going from there. So that piece has been easy. We were actually recently acquired by a very large company, and having had this track record with collaborations, membership in 1% for the Planet, the ingredients of all of our products being plant-based, having that track record already has made it a super easy sell, and they're already encouraging us to do more collaborations of this type and expand out into other areas within the sphere that's our customers care about, that we care about, and the changes that we want to see in the world we live in.
I think it's really important though, working with any company and brand, to understand that even as a creator and artist, if it's the right fit.
Yeah.
Because that fit is so important to the ethos, the DNA, just the organic way that the art will display, and also how the story will be shared. So going about, I refuse quite a bit of collaborations just because I don't feel like they're the right fit, or that it just doesn't really make sense to slap your name or logo on something and hope it works, or just to try to use each other. Because really, I don't know if anyone's read the book recently. Rick Rubin put out a book. Rick Rubin's an incredible producer who founded Def Jam Records and basically built the Beastie Boys, and you name any band in the world, basically he's helped produce. But he had a really interesting topic in one of his chapters regarding your question, and he talked a lot about, as a producer, you're it's kind of you're collaborating all the time and trying to figure out how something feels a certain way and if it makes sense. And he defines collaboration, which I really try to define, and I think where Mike and I looked at this collaboration extremely with a microscope, in the sense of are we both 100% in on this? Or is it just you taking my art and putting it on something? If we're gonna go in on this, we should go in on this. Collaboration is defined as 2 parties going into it and fully committing to the collaboration. Because a lot of times, as a creator, you can feel a brand can be from both different lenses, right? A brand can say, oh, why is this person not pushing this product as much? Why are they not posting more about this? Why are they not doing more, like, why are they not just like advertising this all over their page on their social channels? And then from like a creator's perspective or an athlete's perspective, you can be like, well, what the heck? Like, this brand is not even pushing this product that I worked super hard with and I poured my heart into, and like they're running ads every like 2 months. Like, do they really want this product to be successful? And I think it's important that like you have that relationship and you communicate really directly, and also put it in terms of a contract, because that contract will explicitly state, just like any contract should, that like these are the responsibilities of both parties, but you also form that contract with like the intentionality that we both really want this product to be successful and we both believe in it.
From our online audience, first of all, thank you, Pat, for sharing such a personal story. Your openness on such an important conversation is truly appreciated. Shifting gears, I discovered Zeal Optics sunglasses through your collaboration with Pat. Given the success and creativity of the partnership, I'm curious if there are any plans for future collaborations between Zeal Optics and Pat. I'm in the market for a new pair of sunglasses and would love to know what exciting projects might be on the horizon.
Great question. As mentioned, the goggles are coming out in September of next year. We are looking at a refresh on the sunglasses down the road, but all 4 of the ones on the website are currently available, and are looking at some new styles for 2025.
If there's a little hint,
Yeah.
I'll tease this. There's a little hint. I've been wearing a lot of lenses that have like, I've been testing out lenses because Mike and I have been going about like the psychology of like what you see through. And does anyone ever use rose-colored lenses for like sunglasses or goggles? Okay. It makes life very, very, very rosy. It definitely alters, like it helps a lot on those like cloudy days, overcast. And then I've been looking, I've been trying out some different like yellow lenses. I've been testing kind of just how like a lens can really alter your perception or your mood. So we're hoping that with the new company that acquired Zeal will lend us some of their great resources, because they use a lot of really, really incredible resources with a lot of their products. And we're hoping that we could elevate Zeal's, the next, our Open Hearts series with some of those resources, and also some of those kind of fashion forward.
More to come.
More to come.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for the support as well today.
So I'm going to open my heart and then look through rose-colored lenses. I'm going to drive like so peacefully from now on. It'll be perfect. Yeah, I love it.
Before we get another question in the room, Pat and Mike, you guys talked about how important a genuine relationship is in the partnership and the underlying values of the company being connected. I wonder, what's the added benefit of an SOS into that storytelling picture as the beneficiary of the product?
I mean, I think it's really that shared mission to support what Seth and SOS are doing. It's something that we both believe in, and it's creates a larger value than just selling a product.
Yeah, and I really looked up to some of my older peers when I first started snowboarding, and none of them really cared about me. Not that they needed to, but none of them really took the time with me. And I think it's important to take the time. I think the impact you have on someone else's life when you do take the time is extremely powerful, and there's no price tag that can ever be put on that. The genuine enthusiasm for supporting someone and helping like bring them into areas that they maybe never thought was imaginable is a really, really powerful gift. And if we can provide that for each other, and also not be worried about if they're gonna steal your thunder, or like not get too conscious about like, just do it out of like pure devotion that you're allowed, you have the ability to do that, but also you're allowed to do that. I think it's a really important act in society that doesn't get shared or experienced enough. So
That could be the motto of SOS a little bit. We took the time on these kids. You did take the time on those kids. In 30 years of taking the time on those kids, you've seen that return. How many of them are coming back? The students that come through are coming back as volunteers and spreading that and
we
keeping
have
this growing.
50 graduates currently either employed, mentoring, or volunteering with the organization.
Yeah. It's just growing. So
And it's
is
just
the
growing.
goal,
But it's, I mean, and that's exactly, I mean, to what, it's a natural fit. I mean, that's what's so amazing. It's a great partnership because of the work that's being done, and it's direct support of the work that's being done.
I'm David. First of all, thank you guys so much for everything that you are sharing and doing for elevating the vibration, the collective vibration of our world and our community. You guys are all awesome. I love you guys so much. All of your missions, like from bringing the kids together to your art, to your snowboarding, to your innovation and your contribution to our community and sport. You talked about currency and giving away $5 per sunglasses and everything. Maybe some people are curious to how much does it take to bring a kid snowboarding? And maybe that's important to share that, because then we can okay, well, if I give $100, I can get 2 kids out snowboarding and discovering who they are.
did you plant that guy, Seth? That was really good.
I did.
nice question, Dave.
A little bit in awe right now because DCP's here. This is a little wild.
And talking about helping students, which is
So for us, cash cost, full year program's $1,800, and that's season pass, equipment, all mountain, all soft goods that you need for up on the hill, service learning, full adult mentor, leadership development coursework, plus all the on-hill engagement. Our introductory program, it's about $500, and that's a 5-day program with lift tickets, rental equipment, instruction. And yeah, those are our 2 primary programs.
And we're currently working on what the art program is going to look like.
That's his idea. I'm working on catching up to that
Or
one.
community creativity, and how that's a whole new perspective, but also something that someone might find a little passion with snowboarding or skiing, but ultimately might really feel that wow, I can go create, and I can go and really dive into there and own that. So, and that can be also year round, which is pretty special.
So my name is Alex, and Pat, I was wondering, what's another piece where you've seen the effects of the art being seen?
Ooh, this is a great question. So, you know what it is, truthfully? Remember when you made me that really special coaster? So this is an actual artist. She's an incredible artist. I met her at a really special event called Climate for Climate. And James gave me the honor of creating an upcycled piece of art at that event. And this kind individual gave me a little tree bark that she painted a raccoon on it, a little raccoon face. And I see it every morning. You know why? Because when I wake up, I wake my dog up, we stretch a little bit, and we kind of start going through the things that we're grateful for. I go a lot of times, drink a couple glasses of water, and then get my coffee ready. And right next to my coffee maker is your raccoon coaster, and I place my coffee mug on that every single day. And it means a lot to me because 1, it was an unexpected gift, and 2, I could tell you gave it a lot of meaning for what you did. So thank you. Thank you so much. And your art makes me happy every day. So thank you so much for doing that unexpectedly. And those little things go a long way, and they remind you of those moments that are so special in life. And another project. That one in front of City Hall was really special. It was a very, I know we're facing a huge epidemic right now in the United States of America with homelessness and mental health. And up here, you don't feel it as much because you're not really as exposed to it, right, every day. But in Denver, there's a lot of tents around our city. And there's a lot of times where I'm painting, there's people living right next to where I'm painting a wall, or painting the ground, whatever it is. And there's 2 projects. I'll be really quick with this. There's 3 projects. I painted a piece for Robin Williams the week he passed away. When my mom was really sick, one of her favorite things was to listen to Robin Williams. And we watched a lot of Robin Williams movies, particularly Mrs. Doubtfire. And such a great film. And so painted a mural with my buddy Danny, who was visiting from British Columbia, who's a hip hop artist and incredible painter. And we did a mural of Robin Williams from Mork and Mindy, which was filmed in Boulder, Colorado. And it says "Smile," and it's a photo of Robin from that time with rainbow suspenders and a sweater that he wore on the Mork and Mindy set. The importance of a smile and reminding yourself to smile. And what that did for my mom, who I created my first email address based on something she always said to me when I would come into the room when she was really sick. I would kind of come in sad clown, right? I'd be kind of frowning, my energy would be down, I'd be slunched over. It was like really hard to see my mom sick. And she's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "What's wrong?" I'm like, "Come on, Mom, like look at what is going on right now." She's like, "Yo, we're together. And look at, we have these moments together. We're together right now." And she always like, "You gotta wear your smile." So my first email, and I still use the email address, is wearyoursmile@gmail.com. So if you want to email me, that's my email. And that smile message with Robin Williams is really important. It still is. It's been up since. It has never been vandalized. It's never been touched. It's never been ever. It's been respected a lot by the community. It's brought a lot of joy to a lot of people, as Robin Williams did as a human being. I actually received a comment from his daughter, Zelda. I was in the elevator one day, and this is where art and this is where acts of kindness can take you. You never know. And that's why I'm such a strong believer in having an open heart every day, you know? And I was in the elevator, and this guy's like, "Well, hey, I don't want to make this weird." I'm like, "Oh yeah, you're not making it weird at all." That elevator talk. And he said, "Hey, my name is Chris. I'm a film producer. I work a lot in Denver and Los Angeles. Hey, I'm a big fan of your art. So this might gets weird, but I'm working on a set right now with Zelda Williams, and I showed her the piece you made of her father." And I was like, "Oh, this just got real." And he said, "Hey, she wanted for me to give you a hug from her, because that was the happiest her father's ever been. And that was like a moment that she remembers her father being like the happiest, most pure version of who he was as a human being." And right there, I gave him a hug. I said, "Thank you so much." We talked for a few minutes. But I looked up at the sky after I got out of the elevator, and I just like, it hit about doing things that you believe in, and also things of deeper substance and bigger than you. And I thank my mom, like I do every day, and I just kept believing in the universe. The second project was, I was painting a piece and had a big message that said "choice" on it. And it was for my buddy Mike, he's an entrepreneur. He has a really cool technology. It's a bodega concept that like you can walk into this market and you don't have to pay with your credit card or cash, and everything is like done via your phone. And if you have the app, like the whole convenience store is like censored through cameras. So like you basically like it's hands-free, right? And no form of like transaction. And Mike has 5 different locations down in Denver, and I painted his first store, and I was like, "I'm a believer in your concept." And he's bringing a lot of great like local food, farm to table, and also higher quality to people. And he asked me to paint, so I started painting his first store, and then this was like store 3. And there was a big encampment of people sleeping next to this wall. I looked over. It was hard. I mean, this guy kept shooting needles into his arm, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to get involved with his life. But I couldn't take my eyes away from what it looked like, what he was doing, and then what his body reacted to after he injected these drugs, heroin, into his body. So I kept painting, and I was taken back, but I was painting this word choice on the wall. It's like, I feel like this is some sort of sign. I just need to figure out how to approach a situation, you know? And my buddy I'm painting this piece with, who was assisting me that day, came up and grabbed my ankle. Was like, dude, you gotta come over here. Like, I don't know how to handle this situation. This girl is like, she's about to take her life. She's about to run out in traffic right now. You gotta do something, dude. I don't know what to say. And the irony of this choice right there on the wall, I felt like I was called to be, I don't know what I was called to be that moment. I was called to be something that, be a believer in someone else, you know? And to let them know how much they meant to the world. And so I get off the ladder, I'm like, fuck, I just gotta try to hug this girl and just allow her to, like, you know, kind of have a moment, you know? And just listen. So I did. She luckily engaged in a hug. It was heavy. And these are the things they don't ever tell you that you're going to experience as an artist or as a human. These are things that, if you care about others, you do. And she just couldn't feel her worth, and she was low, on such a low vibration. And I just wouldn't let go of her. And I held her hand. She's like, I'm leaving. I'm like, no, you're not. You're staying here with us. You're going to paint with us. She's like, no, I don't know how to paint. And I'm like, well, guess what? You're going to learn. And she's like, what if I mess up? Okay, like, you can mess anything up and I'll fix it. Don't worry. Life's about messing up. And she's like, I'm like, look at what I've gotten to. Like, I can't believe myself. And I said, you know what? That's why we're here right now. This is a lesson. I'm a new believer in you. And you're going to become a better version of yourself after this moment. And we spent a half hour until we could get her boyfriend to come over and pick her up. But she didn't kill herself. And she changed her decision. And that choice, I kind of like thought about not just putting something on a wall, put something on a wall. To make sure your energy and your care and aligned with what you're putting on that wall. You know, because that writing is on the wall. And that was my second one. And I'm really happy she's alive still today. Because she's a really special person. I felt that immediately. And the third one was the project down in front of City Hall. We had 350 people come down. We had 35 countries represented. We let anyone that came down, that was a tourist or a local or a resident, come and just grab a paintbrush or grab a roller and contribute. It was super special. And we allowed the world to come a little bit more together through a piece of art and a big canvas. And a lot of people I hear when I'm out painting is like, I can't even draw a stick figure. And that's fine. But don't judge yourself, because maybe you are a little more of an artist deep down if you allow yourself to be, and don't put so much pressure on yourself trying to fit some sort of expectation. Because everything takes practice, you know? Just takes work ethic, practice, and thank you so much for the great question.
We're pretty close on time, and I want to make sure we do the giveaways.
So do they.
So tonight is good.
Fair.
Is there another question in the room? Does anyone have a burning question? They'll hang around if you want to have a one-on-one. Okay. Not seeing any. I know we have a few online. Megan's going to do some chats, and we can give contact info. But I want to get into giveaway mode. Mr. Williams.
Let's go, Vanna. Let's do it. So all of these three wonderful organizations decided they wanted to share with this and share the love and continue to spread that message in this way. And we know now that it's not transactional. It's also relational, which is such a cool thing to all the different pieces. So who's starting? Who's going? Who's got some swag?
Yeah, let's do a pair of sunglasses.
There we go. And what we have done is we have randomly taken all of your names and then we've put them in no particular order whatsoever. And so
we scrolled the screen
Megan.
and my 8-year-old pointed at names and we wrote them down.
I think Carol Helms is going to look really good in a pair of sunglasses. Is Carol here? Carol? Oh. Carol's in the bathroom? Then boy, that was a bad line. You know, Carol looks weird in this anyway. Yeah, she's got the odd shaped face. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry. I shouldn't say that. She really is in the bathroom. I love Carol. Yeah, I know. We just lost him. No, I'm just kidding, Carol. All right, Lori Kleisinger.
Yeah, Lori's in the back.
Oh, Lori. Yay. Boom. And then are we passing around, or we
let's do a little round robin on it, and you can pick a pair of those, or I've got a certificate over there for a pair of your choice if they don't fit you well.
Put them on, Lori. Let's see.
Oh, come on, yeah.
There you go.
And you guys can go grab whatever you're going to give too if you want.
They look great with your footwear.
Yeah.
There's a green sunglass bag to the right of the goggles as well.
Do you want to go grab a couple things you want to give? So because it's cooler when it gets handed by you, because the artist himself. So, Pat.
You're welcome.
Okay, so
those are going to match your boots really
some
well.
Some of these folks are online.
Oh,
cool. So
I just picked on a really nice online person named
Carol.
Carol
Is online.
Carol, I'm so sorry.
Carol gets a pair of sunglasses too.
And so we'll connect. We'll connect with you with Carol, and we'll.
If you can connect us digitally,
and we can send some
get her a
things.
certificate. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, Carol. You've got a certificate coming your way.
Congrats.
And so, Pat, something from you?
Yes.
The next person on the list as we're going on down. Yeah, you want to? John Strickler.
John.
Oh, that's that gentleman right there.
Heck yeah. Thank you for being here tonight. You're very welcome. Thank you for listening. I'll let you have your choice. So I have 3 pairs of, these are goggle socks, a great company, all recycled plastic water bottles from British Columbia that they do. So you have these as options. You have a kit. This is one of, I don't know if this might be a little small for you, but it could be a cool gift. This is like the jersey that I currently have out with the Colorado Rapids and Adidas for Major League Soccer, called the New Day Kit. Or you have this print.
Oh, that's
sweet.
Screen print. I know it's tough to choose, but let's get other people up here choosing as well.
We can do it as a white elephant.
So let's bring Megan Wright and
welcome.
Linda
Thank you
Ehrlich
for
up
being here.
if they're here. Megan or Linda? Huh? Boom.
All right.
Colleen Gray, are you here? Yeah. Online?
Online.
So good
John
to see you.
Kelleher.
Thank you for being here.
Oh,
Nice.
nice. I'm sorry if I butchered your last name there.
Do you want a jersey?
I'll do your jersey.
Yeah. Do you want a small or this one? This one?
Oh, it was
I
Colleen
think
Gray.
it's small for you. Does that feel?
Do you want to save her a
like you're
goggle
fine?
sock?
Oh, that's gonna look dope.
Yeah. We're saving
Love
you a
you.
goggle sock, Colleen.
Colleen Gray, you got a beautiful goggle
Thank you
sock
very, very
coming
much
your
for
way.
being here. Yeah. Would you care for? Here's your choice. We have this soccer kit.
I know, this is like a little auction at the end.
Grandkids.
It
This
is like
fun.
an auction.
We want people to win.
I want the snowboard.
That's John. That's happening.
Thank you, John.
Seth, you got something to give away too? Because we'll continue
I
to do
got all
those.
3. It's one package.
It's one package.
Okay, pick
Some-
a name.
2 hats and a shirt.
You pick it.
I'm just going down
I
the
gave
list.
you random names.
In
You pick a
order. I
random
know.
name.
Andy Bombard. I'm going down the list. We got an Andy here?
Nice.
Andy, I'll come to you. There you go.
Did I call Seth's mom, Linda Ehrlich?
You did.
Linda, you win the honor of being Seth's mother. I mean, what he's doing for this community and all these communities, you are an amazing, amazing woman.
Like I said, Andrew
Yes.
was not
I
reading
didn't even
names.
hear it.
Anything
Sure.
next time you come out, I will cook you dinner because we love you. Daniel Rolfe, are you here? Come on.
All right.
Come on.
Yes.
We got
If
2
you
last
need your motorcycle fixed, tuned, or looking really dope, this is the man right here. Dan the Wrench. Dan the Wrench, everybody. Best motorcycle mechanic in the Valley. right here, and one heck of a snow skater.
Oh, there it is. She's gonna look good in that
Thank
too.
you,
That's
dude.
such a cool jersey.
Love you, brother.
Such a cool mental health partnership too, and that means a lot to us in this community. The last goggle sock, Margie Clark. Margie Clark, are you around?
Margie Clark.
Online.
All right.
We're saving it for her?
We'll save it for her.
You want me to read the other names that were here? No, I'm just kidding.
And then, Mike, you've got an announcement for the crowd.
Yeah, with all of the registrants, we'll be sending out some discount codes to get a pair of open heart sunglasses and hopefully some goggles next year. So thanks so much for coming out. Really appreciate it, everyone.
You can wrap it. It's. I mean, I know we said closing statements, and we're pushing right up against time. Thank you all for all of you being here. But what else? Anything you want to share with us as we're leaving? You have shared so much, all three of you. I mean, we appreciate it. Thank you. But
I mean, it's truly a blessing to have your business be focused on something that you love personally, and encourage everyone to find that within their work, to figure out ways that they can give back with what they're doing with their time, with their energy, and how they can change and shape other people's lives, and it will change yours as well. So.
And that's the biggest that I'll pick up on, and it goes to the earlier question. So we've been talking about this partnership, and it feels like it just started in February. This started with, 2 or 5 goggles that Zeal donated to SOS 10 years ago. And it's a big thing for all of you. Like, we often get stuck because it's like we can't have a big enough impact. We can't go all in. We can't be the full year mentor. Show up for a day, sort clothes, like do something because you have no idea what happened. Like SOS literally started because we got the code to the copy machine and we printed flyers and people came, and from that roots with Vail Associates 30 years ago, it's now the largest partnership in the ski and snowboard industry between community and mountain, spanning 12 mountains and 20-some hundred kids. And so you have no idea what happens when you just get started. And Mike donated 5 goggles from his back room from a sale that didn't go through, and we're now here. And so I just encourage that for all of you. Like, if you're interested, go have coffee. Take the first step.
Dream. Believe in your dreams. Believe in yourself. This is a really special stage. Vail Symposium is international. It's iconic. It has some of the best, most prolific. Just being here on the stage is such an honor. Heck yeah. It's a huge honor. And sometimes we put limitations on ourselves of what we should, can, or cannot do as a snowboarder, but as like a human, we can do anything. And as a snowboarder, I take pride in like expanding boundaries and never putting limitations on your growth. I think the biggest thing that I could say, it's the hardest thing to do in life, is to wake up every day and just know that it's such a gift, and that when you wake up, you have the ability to add such a loving energy into this world. And don't limit what you can do with your heart. If you're intimidated, force yourself to go take that risk. If you're scared to approach a situation, do it and overcome that fear. And just appreciating life on those kind of levels is so important, because it teaches you so much, and then you can share that, and then that energy just compounds into so much like goodness for our world. And I kind of laugh at myself some of these days because I get paid to put paint on walls. But I get paid well to do it. And that just is reinforcing that anything you want to believe in yourself to do, you can do. And it's just a matter of like, not only the hard work, but the passion, and also being respectful of every opportunity you have, and living in the moment. If you're having a hard time with stuff in your past, try to work through it, because that trauma sometimes really holds us back from what we can achieve. And we're so capable of doing so much as long as we can work through and forgive ourselves for some of the stuff we've had to go through. So please be kind. Please know that your heart is way bigger than you think. And also just be really grateful for great friendships and great relationships, and kind of just breaking rules and kind of charting new frontiers, and hopefully doing it with a purpose. And I think the universe will align with you on so many levels when you're living a purposeful life. It just, magic will happen every day. As long as you're in the moment and you're living with a purpose, you'll see your life transition and shift on so many beautiful, magical levels. You just got to believe.
Can you? I know. Boom. Thank you. Can you imagine randomly jumping on a chairlift with that gentleman and having a conversation? Wouldn't that be like the greatest gift in the world? I can't wait till it happens to me randomly sometime. Thanks, brother. Thanks for what you shared.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Lewis from Zeal Optics. Seth Ehrlich, SOS Outreach. Pat Milbery. And Erik Williams from the Vail Valley Partnership.